What a fascinating day in the markets today. Welcome to Stock Talk on June 12th. It's currently 4:12 p.m. Eastern Time. Let's get started right away using SPY, which tracks an S&P 500 on the 180-day chart using the Thinkorswim platform. So we talked about in previous videos that we have a resistance at 280 and now we have a support at 278. Okay, this is a narrow channel, I agree, but one thing to note is markets have been in a bull flag pattern. You guys can see that on the 180-day chart. We have a pull, consolidation, pull. So a couple of things to note. Number one, we are nearing the resistance. So what was our strategy that I talked about yesterday's video? As we near the resistance, we need to start thinking or acting upon taking out of our positions in terms of the markets, in terms of TQQQ, whatever position you're in, you should think about, those tickers that follow the markets. You need to start thinking about taking out your positions. So why is 280 a major resistance? I don't expect us just to waltz through 280. The reason is we've had a bullish streak, right? And one can just do this quick analysis, see that we climbed 4.5% here, and look how much we've climbed now. All of a sudden, we're nearing the 4% mark, and if you actually do it from this candle here, we're pretty much almost at the 4% mark. We can climb a little more, but as we climb a little more, we certainly want to think about exiting our position. So why is 280 a very critical number? This was the previous peak, right? This was the breakdown area. You can imagine, even though we're on a bullish streak, right? We crossed over the lower high red line, as you can see by this. We're on a bullish streak, no doubt, but the markets need to rest. Given all of those factors combined, right? That is the reason why I feel that, this 280 mark is more of a stronger resistance than 278 was. So just keep that in mind as we go forward in the next few days. All right, so you might be asking, well, Kevin, how do I start trading in this environment right now? So one strategy is to just wait and see. Especially if you're going into tickers that follow the markets. So you can see that intraday, right, we had some volatility, but how could you have traded SPY intraday if you gave me that question? Well, one would note that this was the low pre-market, right? 278.26. It functioned as a low here. Was that a huge surprise? So it shouldn't function as a huge surprise given that this was the low, given that we are near the resistance at 280, and given that the support is pretty much at 278, which is right down here. So because of this area, this is the area where you could have bought, right? So given all those factors combined, this is the area where you could have bought in to SPY. Now, you might ask, well, how do I get out of that position? Well, one can note that, look at this right here, right? This was the previous day high, and you can imagine that it might act as a high here. And because we're so close to the 280 resistance, right? So either the markets kept climbing over this area, but once you saw that it started U-turning back down, you can get out of that position. So that's one way you could have traded. Of course, if you bought in at here, you wouldn't have had the time to sell at the top VWAP, right? The VWAP is the white line. But at the same time, you can expect as we climbed higher, you could have at least exited out of your position before or even right now, right? As the markets are closed. So what am I looking for in the near future? We're looking for us, perhaps a steady climb, but what I'm looking for is the 280 to act as a resistance, perhaps consolidate in a what pattern? Well, this is a consolidation horizontal pattern, or it might come down and start testing some of these SMA lines. Regardless, we are still on a bullish streak. So even if it came down to test the 150 SMA, which is the orange line, we can still be in a bullish streak as long as markets continue to push higher as after it tests that. So you can imagine, what is our strategy for trading the markets? As the markets start dipping, and dipping heavily, let's say, for example, theoretically speaking, to the 150 SMA, we need to start thinking about adding positions into the market. Because we are on a bullish streak, that is why. So I hope that helped. Let's take a look at TVIX, which tracks volatility. So volatility, you can see that even though the markets pulled a little lower, it really didn't move that much. The volatility did manage to still drop So TVIX, we're continuing to make lower lows. We talked about yesterday the potential to watch out for what? A volatility play once SPY hits or it gets really close to 280. Right now, SPY didn't really do much. It really just got to the witch mark, 279, around there. We're not really at 280. There's no confirmation of a reversal just yet, so don't take that position just yet, but be on the lookout for that intraday should that occur. So one thing to note is tomorrow meeting minutes are coming out. So this is the FOMC meeting minutes. This comes out, I believe, at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So look for, some movement within the markets, and this is going to be an interesting one in my opinion, given that we're on such a bullish streak. This will move the markets, so be on the lookout for that. Looking at 4/CL, commodities, tracking crude oil futures. Crude oil futures, what a story, right? Crude oil, we know, has had a higher low until we broke it, but all of a sudden we're making a what? A higher low again, but more near-term higher low, and the previous resistance or support is now acting as a resistance. However, let's take a look at 5-day, 5-minute chart. What's been going on? We've had multiple tests of this major resistance area. Once, twice, 3 times. I'm not even pulling it back further, but I'm not sure. Once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times in the last 5 days. So, what am I looking for? Crude oil appears to be more bullish. You can imagine the more we test this area, at some point we could potentially break over, right? At the same time, if we come back down to the support, we find ourselves a good entry position into crude oil. So, some tickers that I'm looking at right now include what? GUSH, GUSH, UWT. So let's just take a look at UWT really quickly. UWT pretty much follows crude oil. You guys can see that it's doing the same thing. Higher high, higher low, pretty predictable where to sell, right? If I just kind of drew a line on the resistance areas, you know where to sell for crude oil if you're in UWT, right? You guys can see this. This is the higher high line. That's where you would sell. At the same time, expect a support somewhere around here. All right? So not too difficult to trade this one as long as you kind of pay attention intraday what's going on. You can imagine, it's hard to catch this candle. It's possible, but, if you have a limit order set, then you should be good to go if it hits. Okay, so let's quickly take a look at GUSH and DRIP. So here's GUSH, right? We've talked about this. Wow, let's look at the 180-day chart. We talked about there's a support here at 33.75, but at the same time we formed this flag pattern, right? Doesn't mean it has to, come all the way down again, but it certainly could. So how would one trade this? Well, there's a resistance around 39.83. So if you guys looked at today, we actually spiked over $40 before coming back down. That would be a good exit area because it's functioned as a previous resistance, right? Note that the body of the candles have been below this majority $40 mark. So at that time you could have exited it, but at the same time you know where to buy, right? You know where to buy the 150 SMA, which has functioned as the support. So if it starts dipping tomorrow, I'm looking to add more into GUSH, especially if it dips to 37 or 36.50. So that is what I'm looking for GUSH right now. Looking at DRIP, so DRIP did increase just slightly, 1%. Really not much happened here, even though there was like an intraday scare for DRIP when we first started coming down. But we did, DRIP did manage to recover, but at the same time, just realize the big picture. Focus on the big picture. The intraday stuff is, might catch you off guard, but if you have the patience, DRIP is on the downtrend. So if you're in DRIP, make sure you find yourself a good exit position, right? The reason why I say a good exit position is you don't want to bank on the fact that DRIP will start reversing, right? That's literally guessing against the trend. I'm going to guess that it's going to start reversing. And so this is essentially what you're guessing at. You're hoping that this will occur right here if you are in DRIP long term. And that won't occur until something like this happens, when it starts gapping up. At this time, there's really no pattern of a reversal, so just be cautious. Okay. Let's take a look at /NG natural gas futures. Natural gas pretty much a stalemate today. Higher highs plus higher lows on the 1-year chart. You guys can see that. Actually, we can see it better on the 180-day chart. At the same time, we know that there's a resistance, right, at 2.979. What happened today? It functioned as a resistance. You know, trading natural gas shouldn't be too difficult, I don't think. Support at 2.886. So what are we looking for in natural gas? Well, we're looking for entry points into UGAZ once it hits this support, right? Back down to the support. It's now falling. Let it fall a little more. If it gets down here, great position to take a UGAZ position. So here we go. UGAZ. What do you see? Well, yesterday we talked about this lower high, right? But we also talked about what? We talked about the potential to go back to this previous high, right? That won't be a surprise to me because it could easily be just a horizontal resistance, which we saw today. But at the same time, you guys want to note that, right? At the same time, we're still kind of making this lower high, but not as a steep a slope as what we had yesterday. So here we go, right here. Entry point, 62.80, around there. Exit point, wherever we're, you know, whichever day we are on. That could be our exit point. So I hope you guys were able to take advantage of UGAZ here, and just knowing when to sell. And these are not day trades by all means, right? Looking at this, you can buy in at this day, sell on this day, buy on this day, sell on this day, right? You can buy in on here, sell on here. So it shouldn't be too difficult as long as you're managing to control your emotions. Be disciplined with your trades. Don't be greedy. Once it gets up there, don't think, oh, we might go up there, but because chances are the odds are not against you. So just, you know, control your emotions and let the charts do the talking. /GC tracking gold futures. Here's gold, right? JNUG went up a little over 1% yesterday, which is gold based, and then today JNUG went back 1%. Really nothing happened net on net. Really nothing happened. We have 1312 resistance, 1286 support, doing this horizontal pattern. Not much action the past few days. Really nothing big to talk about in gold futures. Just looking at JNUG, we talked about, you know, this just right. Nothing is happening here. So we're not going to be investing in things that are not moving. Now let's get to your tickers, but before we do that, let's look at Tesla. Here we are. So we are looking at a 3-year chart of Tesla. What do you see? Well, you see a bull flag pattern, right? And finally we have a candle that's sticking out like, you know, look at me. What does that mean? Okay, so that means a couple of things. One, you know that this is a weekly candle, which means the Friday close, once again, is especially important. We talked about if Friday's close can be above 330, that is a breakout signal for Tesla. We also talked about yesterday that if we started closing intraday consistently at 340, 345, 350, that is a breakout signal for Tesla. Okay, this looks like a breakout signal right now, but we have to take this with a grain of salt because the last candle has not formed. You can imagine, yesterday I gave you the scenario, if Tesla manages to pull all the way back down and close at 321 by Friday, what would that say about Tesla? That's not a breakout signal anymore. That's more of a reversal candle. So, on the yearly chart, what are we looking at? Okay? Here's the candle that was formed today. Very interesting candle, right? Surely this was a gap up candle from the previous day. So one can almost surmise that this candle kind of looks like this candle. This was a what candle? This was a tail candle. If you said that this was a tail candle, I agree, and that is usually a sign of a reversal back down. But what happened? We came back up. We broke over the resistance, and now we're here, okay? Now, what really throws your emotions all over the place is, number one, other people's opinion about this. So if you're looking at other forums and stuff, that might throw you off. If the stock is going up, they're going to give you reasons why it's going up. If the stock is going down, they'll give you reasons why it's going down. So let's try to look at it objectively, right? Here's what happened to Tesla. It went to 354.97 before coming down to the intraday low, and we closed here. Does this tell any story? Well, it just told us that, okay, we went up here and then we sold off back to the low and now we're here. But what was more important is we started gapping up in this area and we still closed 3.21% above the previous day's close. That is, objectively speaking, that is what happened, right? It did not manage to come back down to 333 or possibly lower. It still closed pretty darn bullish. So for Tesla, here's what I'm looking at, right? As Tesla looks currently to me like it's on a breakout trajectory. So perhaps the markets on the 1-day chart tomorrow may test this gap area, right? The pre-market gap area, which the markets were not able to trade today. So this area ranges from 335 to 338, around that area. It doesn't have to test that area. It can. It's not totally, but that's one potential. And at that area, should it start testing that area, I probably will start adding more position into Tesla, because that is the area where if Tesla does, break out, this is a good entry area, you can imagine, if we miss the initial spike up or gap up. So I did add some more shares into Tesla today. Obviously I added, somewhere here, not on the decline. Yeah, in the end, it did come down. Am I really worried? Not so much. Just keep the big picture in check. So, all right, smokes is a good opportunity to short TGT. I think TGT's target, right? I think I've looked at. Oh no, it isn't. Oh, it is target. Okay. So here's TGT. When is a good time to short target? So, okay, I see that target is at pretty much the resistance area. All right. So one thing to know about Target, whether it's Target or other stocks, is the markets are generally on a bullish streak. So we expect resistances to be broken. So you really don't want to go against them, even though we're near the resistance we talked about on SPY. We don't want to short the market because we're guessing when the market would turn around. But think about it. What's the magnitude of the turnaround? If the markets start turning around, in what sense, when you can say the markets are now bearish and I will, my short is now very comfortable? That's going to take a lot of effort for the efforts to come down. Right now, the markets are bullish. Even if it starts correcting just a little bit, no problem, right? So in my opinion, I would not look for a short in Target, even though we're at the resistance, because let's just take a look at the 1-year chart. Yeah, because, there's a couple, for the reason I kind of told you, right? This is almost like a flag pattern again. Look at this. Surge, flag, surge, question mark, right? So it could easily break this resistance and continue to go higher. So you don't want to short something when, especially on the 180-day chart, you see that it's actively pushing higher without any breaks. So, yeah, that's just my 2 cents for Target. Thank you for calling that one out. Olga, Kevin, please give analysis of ZAGG. It seems that this stock has an uptrend. All right, Olga. So ZAGG is something I've looked at in the past as well. And here we are, ZAGG. Okay. Yeah, still looking. Okay, so ZAGG certainly is looking pretty nice, it looks like. So the resistance area is perhaps around here, right? It's 1858. It's still around $1.50 away. So let's look at the 180-day chart. You can see how it's pushing higher, right? You can see that it's pushing higher and that we tested the which area. We actually consolidated to the 50 SMA until we came up. So I think it's okay to take a position right now. Just know where your exit is. So if you manage to get that 3 to 5%, 6% profit, I think that's good until we hit the resistance and see what happens. I think it's okay to go in right now. Just note where to set your stop loss if you're wrong, because we just started this upward trajectory, and I do like the pattern. Is just be a little careful on this one given the 3-year chart, right? You can see how fast it moves, coming down, now reversing back up. Yep, I like this play, but just, yeah, be careful on your stop loss. Okay, Rizwan. Hello, Kevin. I short SFM. Will you go over, please? SFM. Oh, my bad. You're shorting SFM. Okay, so we're looking at a weekly chart of, oh, Sprouts. Okay. All right, so Sprouts has a well-defined support around here, right? We kind of, there's the support. You're expecting this to come down. We're looking at a weekly chart. Okay, so I think you can short Sprouts right now. It looks like a pretty decent short opportunity. The one thing I have to say about shorting is you can imagine we're on the weekly chart, how you see here when we're kind of like edging lower and lower and lower. At some point it might come back to the 20 EMA, which is a light blue line, in which you could take another short on it if you wanted to. That would be a little more comfortable for me than coming all the way back down. So Sprouts is another one that kind of like, I know you're shorting, but yeah, I think it's fine. Look at the 180-day chart. You see that it's getting rejected at most points. It's just, yeah, I mean, I think that is certainly one that you can short right now. Yeah. So I think you can kind of take advantage of at least 5 to 8% profit on this one. So good call out. I like it. Good job on the short if you're in it. Not much to say. See, when you're right, really not much to say. Chris, is EL a bull flag pattern or a cup and handle formation? Is it overextended or is it a good deal? So let's take a look at EL. Cup and handle. Okay. So it's not a bull flag, right? Bull flag, we expect a little more flag. So this one went up 1.32% today. You can see that it's dipped because of earnings, and then it came back up. Okay, so this is another good call out. Looking at the 3-year chart, we're seeing that it's making all-time highs, and we reconfirmed the support right here at the 20 EMA. You guys can see that we dropped, but we reconfirmed the support, and now we're coming back up. Pretty good chart. Just note that if you wanted to partake, the thing about these patterns is if you wanted to start going into this one, it has the potential surely to keep going higher and higher and higher and higher. At the same time, it's just hard to define where your stop loss is. Where's your stop loss? Right? Wait for it to come down on the yearly chart to the 20 EMA, the light blue line. Look how many times we confirmed it as the support here when it was trending higher. We're going higher now. Let's wait for it to come down, confirm the support. At the very least, we'll know where our stop loss is. If you get in now, it's just a little too overextended. Even if it does something like that before it comes down a little bit, this is a more comfortable position. This is a less comfortable position. So yeah, let's just wait on this one just a tad bit, maybe a couple of days, and wait for it to come down a little. All right. Fun Simple Life. Can you look at future silver futures also? Both are inverse ETFs, USLV and DSLV. Okay, so I think I do have futures on here, USLV. So we talked about futures in terms of a support. This is silver, like you said, right? The support is 968, and now we're climbing higher, right? We're actively climbing higher. At the same time, look what's happening. We're pretty much at resistance areas right here, right? This has been acting as a resistance area, and now we're closing right here. So USLV, okay, you're talking about DSLV, which is the inverse. Right, so this is one that you can certainly partake in, I think. This one, DSLV, does look a little better than the other chart. Note that if we start getting down here, especially $22 and change, 40 cents, $22.30, you can certainly start buying into DSLV, and you know, this will go back higher because it's just the pattern that's given us. So good call out. I think wait for that entry into DSLV, and good job. Not much to say. The Giants. Hey, thanks for your stock analysis. You're very smart and really love your channel. I'm in DRIP and looking to go into Tesla shortly. I'm looking forward to, you know, that's pretty much what I'm doing right now. So I'm not in DRIP, but I am in Tesla. Mo Sani, great job. Thank you very much. Tango Tango, I sold my AT&T position today and got in when it was 31.22, wondering when it was a good entry point. So AT&T, is that ticker T? Okay, so AT&T went up 0.5% today, and you said you exited already, and when it would be a good entry point. So let's just take a look at the graph. Okay, so I see why you got out because we're at the 20 EMA. You know, that's certainly okay. I think you may have gotten out a little early. Know how we kind of pushed to where? The blue line, which is the 50 SMA. Resistance, resistance. So you can expect a resistance around 35.88, around there, right? As we are actively pushing higher. Just note that the earnings are coming up in still a month away. Earnings are still around a month away, so no worries there. Just note that I think it'll still continue to trend higher. So if you wanted to enter, since you already sold your position, there's really no reason to enter. I think you can enter once it gets a little closer to the 20 EMA. If it starts dropping, you know where your exit is at least. But for now, I don't think there's a good entry point. Just wait for this one to come back to the 20 EMA, take that position, and ride it higher. All right, that's it for this video. Thank you everyone for watching these videos. Keep on the lookout. So for those ones that I just talked about, right, some of those tickers that you guys called out, as well as Tesla, look for, you know, look at what happens tomorrow. This is going to be a very interesting pattern that is playing out. So remember, Tesla, I'm looking for it to mimic AMD, right? We talked about AMD right here. I just want to show you the chart, what AMD looks like on the 3-year chart. Here's AMD on the 3-year chart. Here's Tesla on the 3-year chart. So be on the lookout for that. And I hope you guys are able to take take some good opportunities as the markets are more bullish, and go along with the markets as we, you know, as the markets, or if the markets do start dipping. Like if you like this video. If you didn't like it, I hope you like it in the future. Subscribe to this channel to get up-to-date notifications on when I go and post that video that talks about market trends every single day. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, Wednesday, for another Stock Talk. So see you tomorrow.